How are we traveling, my wonderful internet friends? Welcome back to the channel. We've almost hit the end of Apex Legends Season 5 and we want to talk about the state of the game. Straight out the gate, Loba had a very fiery entrance. It had us all pretty excited, but as the weeks went on, she certainly began to cool off. I mean, I personally still love playing as her. The only problem I have is that when she throws her bracelet, there are times where she'll hit you with the good old finger wag, and it feels like her bracelet is absolutely broken. Respawn, can you please look into this? It's doing my head in. Now, as the weeks go by, you'll tend to notice the enthusiasm of the community becoming rather questionable. Some of your friends won't be playing as often. You go to your friends list and see that they're enjoying different games. Perhaps you've noticed that you too have lost some interest in the game. Maybe these sentiments just do not apply to you in the slightest. You're absolutely loving every second of your Apex Legends Season 5 experience, and if you're in that camp, more power to you. But we're genuinely curious to see how you're feeling about the game's state. So if you could be so kind, leave a comment about what you're thinking. We want this to be constructive criticism of the game. We're not bashing the game. To me, Apex is my favorite BR game I've ever played in my life. So please be polite, please be respectful with your suggestions. Now, due to the pandemic, the entire dev team, they've had to be working from home. What they've done so far for us is nothing short of spectacular. The game's running smoothly, they've fixed the no-reg hit markers, we managed to finagle out a Lost Treasures event, which was a decent amount of fun, we got the Crypto Town takeover in Kings Canyon, they added weekly quests that contributed nicely to the pacing of the story. You can see that despite whatever is going on around the world, they're still trying their absolute best to give the community a solid gaming experience, and for that, we must be grateful. It just goes to show how much Respawn genuinely cares about their game. However, with that being said, we need Apex to keep evolving with the times or this game will be simply left behind. I think we're already starting to see that with many Apex content creators not only voicing their concern about this, but they've already begun to move on to different games. They're hopping onto things like Hyperscape, Rogue Company, Warzone, Valorant, the list goes on. I mean, I myself have had to go back to playing Animal Crossing. Who am I kidding? Animal Crossing is the absolute best. I'm gonna keep this very informal. I want it to be more of a discussion rather than me just talking to you guys. I want it to be a conversation. So I think we'll just start spitballing ideas. We'll bounce them off each other. Leave your feedback in the comment section. We want to know your thoughts. Firstly, I think we need to talk about skill-based matchmaking. It needs to be tuned up. This is especially true with the family growing tenfold as soon as they introduce crossplay. We'll talk about that a bit later on. Firstly, we're going to be covering skill-based matchmaking. Yes, this definitely needs a tune-up. So here's what I'm proposing. I think for the first 50 levels, you get put with other people who are level 50 and below. I think 50 levels should be more than enough time for newer players to get accustomed to the game. They'll start to understand the legends they like, they'll understand the weapons that suit their playstyle. After that, it is an open market, it is free game. I want the lobbies to be filled with all walks of life. From the sweaty Nerdburger Predator players who just drop hot for the R99s and the wingmen, to the epic scout gamers that sit back with the 3x scopes, the incredibly annoying charge rifle players. I want bronze players and pred players. We're all going to be in the same bowl of soup here. We're all welcomed into the same lobby and just let the chaos take over. I think it'll be incredibly fun. Obviously, Respawn has the numbers showing that if they take out skill-based matchmaking, it will crush the game. The new players, they do need to be protected. They do need to be looked out for. I think up to level 50 is more than enough. Next, the gun and the legend meta, it needs to be shaken up a little bit. This game becomes incredibly boring, incredibly repetitive when everyone is just hoping to get the exact same loadout. You simply cannot compete unless you're running the current meta. So, here's a suggestion. Every single gun has a hop-up alternative. With these said hop-ups, it can make every gun competitive for the endgame. Instead of every gun having a hop-up that needs to be found on the ground, why not just have one item called the hop-up? It can apply to any gun you want. That way we can clean up the loot pool from other items like the precision choke and the select fire for the Havoc, or the double tap for the G7. These are hop-ups that aren't being used on a regular basis. We need the loot pool to be as efficient and conducive to fun gameplay as possible, and when the devs leave things unattended for an extended period of time, it gives the impression to the player base that they don't care, and in return, why should the players? Okay, now we're all familiar with the Mozambique being a meme, and it's something that the Apex community has embraced wholeheartedly. We love it, it's all jokes, but this joke cannot come at the expense of good gameplay. How about we switch things up completely? How about we spawn in with a P20 and a Mozam, and we all get White Shield. That way, it's going to take out two useless weapons out of the loot pool. Yes, I know they're amazing with their hop-ups, but on their own, they're they're pretty hopeless. And also, it can reduce the RNG with the shield, especially in the beginning of games. So many players leave immediately and they just head back to the lobby if they've been downed at the start of game. A little bit of RNG reduction will stop that. Call of Duty Warzone, they've really found a sweet spot with that, and I think it would be wise if Apex was to borrow some of those principles that led to their good gameplay. Now, I'm feeling like we are due for a new gun, and by that I specifically mean an AR or an SMG. We don't need a new sniper, we don't need a new shotgun, we need a gun that is going to be used by most players. Most players in Apex run either an AR or an SMG. What I would like to see is a new AR that can compete with the 301s and the Flatlines, and I would like to see an SMG that can compete with the R99 and the Prowler. I think we can all agree that we want to see more variety in the mid to end game when it comes to weaponry. Hopefully the devs can think of something. In terms of legends, I think we have to do something about Mirage and Octane and other legends that tend to be a little bit more selfish in their abilities. This is a question I want to put out there. I understand that not all of the legends have to help the team. Some of them can be selfish, and I guess that does fit in nicely when you consider the lore of their personalities, but especially in ranked, there are only like 4 or 5 legends that seem to be actually useful. Every other legend just loses their spot. I think it'd be awesome to see, especially at the higher level of competitive play, a dynamic mixture of all different legends coming together and almost like a game of rock, paper, scissors. All the different legend comps have their strengths and weaknesses exploited by superior strategy and in-game mechanics. Now, I know I just mentioned Mirage and Octane. Both of them received buffs this season. What I would like to see is for their abilities to be helping out the team a little bit more. Okay, now I want to talk about legend tokens. We need a better way to spend these tokens. I think also having a daily rotating shop like Fortnite will create a fear of missing out in players, and they will be more inclined to try and log in every single day just to see if they want to pick up any of the new cosmetics from the shop for their favorite legend. I know spending legend tokens, you can trade out some of the daily challenges, but we need something else. Look, I hate to bring up a problem and then just not provide any idea or solution. So I understand why we've got nothing to spend it on, because I can't think of anything that I would want to spend it on. But I mean, we need to be able to spend these tokens in a different way. Please, if you've got thoughts about this, throw it in the comment section. I would love to see a brand new map, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to see this. We had Ash the Simulacrum from Titanfall 2 actually tell us that we are heading over to Olympus. So no point talking too much about that. Respawn doing good things, giving us a new map. Love to see it. I would like to see a continuous LTM. That would be awesome to have alongside the regular games. It really helps break up the monotony of the traditional gameplay after a while. That doesn't mean that the LTM must come with a particular event. Even if you set up something in between events, for example, you can recycle the previous events. I'm sure people aren't gonna mind. The previous events have been so much fun. Or what I was thinking about was a team deathmatch style or King of the Hill style gameplay completely confined to Skulltown. Something that would like shake up the game in that respect would be wonderful. I mean, all of us that have played Titanfall 2, we know how amazing this IP is for running those Slayer game types. Those arena based game types run like a goddamn dream. So I think it'd be a very good idea. Now, people that were lucky enough to receive an heirloom, I think we should also be rewarded with a unique finisher move that includes that heirloom. Something really cool, really unique. It shows off the heirloom in an interesting way. Maybe you can integrate some of the lore and the backstory into their finishes. That'd be super cool. Now, we know that crossplay is coming, but I think no matter what, it has to come in Season 6. We just got to think about it here. Every single successful game in the last few years, they have all had crossplay enabled from the get-go, and that needs to be brought into Apex. I don't care about hackers. I don't care about controller versus mouse and keyboard. We just want the player pool to be massively increased. It will fasten the queue times. It will bring a sense of togetherness for the community. Not only would this benefit the average player who has friends on different consoles, but it will also be an awesome way for content creators to play with each other and their fan bases. Okay, so if you look at the top of our screen, you can see we've got a kill counter, right? Why don't we have a damage counter? Also, so many games are including our progressions towards completing challenges in the game live. We should also have that feature so it gives us something to strive for besides the win. We all love the cards, we all love the badges. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's time that we bring in some new badges, especially for the amazing content creators that need more to go for. Many of them have already hit level 500. They already have the 4k 20 kill badge. I think we should make a 5k damage and a 6k damage. Let's see how crazy these S tier gamers can get. I think we should also introduce a 25 kill badge and a 30 kill badge as well. Not many people are going to be earning these types of badges, but I think it's important that the content creators that bring a lot of popularity and eyes to the game make a regular player want to play the game. We need to keep those bunch happy. Once they get frustrated and they start trash talking the game to their audience, it just feels like it's going to be poor marketing. It's reflecting poorly on the game. I think it'll result in their audience being a little bit turned off by the idea of coming back in to play the Apex. And for the average players, I think some new badges would be nice as well. You know, instead of the 20 kill, there should be one section less and go for a 15 kill badge. I don't know, I'm sure the sky's the limit as to what kind of badges we could create out there, but I just think some more attainable badges would be a lot of fun. I can't even remember the last time I've unlocked any badges anywhere. I'm an incredibly average player. I think the most kills I've ever gotten is like 16 or 17, and the highest damage game I've ever had was like 3,700. I think it's just getting harder and harder to get these kills as time goes on with skill-based matchmaking. In terms of the storyline, I absolutely loved the addition of the quests. Is there any chance to have these animated and voice acted? Personally, I absolutely loved them. Really enjoyed it. Now, myself, I'm a bit of a bookworm, pretty nerdy individual, but I know many people out there absolutely hate reading. That was their main barrier into caring about the story. If we can somehow make the story more accessible to as many people as possible, it could really help the engagement from the whole community into the lore. Alrighty friends, these are some small suggestions that I can think from the top of my head real quick. I feel as though these could really bring a positive change coming into season 6. Now I want to hear from you. Leave your comments down below. Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. We'd love to hear them. We'll talk soon, friends.